Hello budget people, and welcome back to another episode of Cash Confessions. Yeah. Since I shared my own confession, I have been sent the most heartfelt confessions I've ever heard. And Cash Confessions is all about a safe space where we can discuss our worries and fears in regards to our finances. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in watching, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you are kept up to date with all of these future videos. Not only are these confessions filmed for YouTube, we also have Cash Confessions Extended, where myself and Ellie go into more depth each week in regards to each episode. So if you haven't done so, guys, do go over to your nearest podcast streaming service so you can download the latest episodes of Cash Confessions Extended. This week we are going to be looking into a very serious topic. We are going to be discussing financial infidelity. For those of you who don't know what that means, over the next few weeks we are going to be looking at a series of confessions in regards to people withholding information about large amounts of debt from their spouses, and we are going to see not only the impact it has on marriages but also try and come up with some solutions, guys, because this is definitely a topic that is not being talked about as much as it should. So let's get into this week's message. It is a long one, so strap in. My wife has had her own credit cards since college. A few years into our marriage, I discovered she had $20,000 spread over several cards. A few years in, we sat down and had an honest conversation about finances, savings and retirement. We used savings to pay it off, and she agreed to change her ways, which basically amounted to her giving up frivolous shopping. This lasted about 2 years and she was miserable. In her mind, money in the bank had no meaning. She ended up opening new cards and again had $20,000 in debt that I discovered when we applied for a mortgage a few years later. Wow. I was angry but paid it off with savings so we could get a lower interest rate. I again had the same discussion with her, which she blamed on the kids needing things and that I was being unreasonable about her shopping. A few more years go by and she made the mistake of importing one of her hidden cards into our account, and I saw another $20,000 balance show up. Should I file for divorce? Wow. I think we're going to have to go back into this one and break it down because there's no way I can remember everything. There were so many things that we have to kind of cover, so I think we have to go back into this one. Okay, so the first thing that he said was that his wife has had her own credit card since college. So I'm assuming that they were together during college and she just had credit cards. But it wasn't until they were actually married that he discovered that she was in debt of over $20,000. So that is the worrying part. By no means am I an expert when it comes to marriages, but I definitely feel that if you are looking to settle down, if you're looking to get married, or even enter into a really serious relationship where you are merging finances, I do believe there should be a full disclosure of your current standing. I feel like that is literally grounds for divorce on its own. Sorry guys, maybe I'm being harsh, but I really don't feel that you can enter a marriage wholeheartedly without sharing every aspect of your life when it comes down to your health, whether it comes down to your finances. I feel like these are things that should be discussed straight away, and we find that a lot of the times it isn't, and money is literally like one of the number one reasons why people end up in divorce. So maybe we could have disclosed this earlier, because a few years in he's kind of stuck by that time. So he said, we sat down and had an honest conversation about finances, savings and retirement. So they had a discussion. He obviously seems to have taken it well to some degree because he didn't fly off the handle and file divorce papers, but he has had the conversation with her. So maybe he felt a bit responsible. Maybe this is the first time they actually discuss finances. So therefore he's like, okay, cool, let's have the discussion. Let's see if we can get on the same page. We used savings to pay it off and she agreed to change her ways, which basically amounted to her giving up frivolous shopping. Now, being a woman myself, I don't know about the frivolous shopping part. I don't know if men will ever think that some of the things that us us females buy are not frivolous. I can definitely concur that some things may seem frivolous to them, but they aren't to us. At the same time, the fact that he had to pay off her debt using his savings, I'm presuming, because if she had savings, would she be in debt? I don't know. But whether it's his, hers, theirs, they use savings to pay it off. And she said that she was going to be giving up her frivolous shopping. And this lasted 2 years, guys, because she was miserable, which I think in itself is a bit harsh. Maybe you're upset, maybe you're down. This is also a sign that she probably has an issue with her money, maybe an addiction to spending, but also the fact that she was miserable and she didn't hide her discontentment from him, I think is a bit harsh. He's just paid off your debt, and then you are now showing him that you're very, very upset about the fact that you've had to curb your shopping in order to make some changes. He goes on to say that she sees money in the bank as having no meaning. So obviously he's trying to regain some of the money that they've had to spend in order to get them out of debt, and she is not happy. She ended up opening new cards and again had 20k in debt that I discovered when we applied for a mortgage a few years later. That is the worst time to find out anything. When you're going through a mortgage process, I've been through one myself, guys, and it is so stressful. In most cases, a lot of people have really picked out their homes, and you're now at the point where you're finding out not only that this is a stressful time that you're going through, you're probably arguing about all sorts anyway, and then on top of that, the fact that you are now finding out more problems, more issues, that she's gone back into more debt and opened credit cards behind your back is awful. I really don't know how I would feel, but I definitely think from the sounds of it, this lady is suffering herself. He should be assuming that his wife has a problem and that she definitely needs to see someone about it. I was angry, but paid it off with savings so we could get a lower interest rate. So back into the savings again. I again had the same discussion with her, which she blamed on the kids needing things and that I was being unreasonable about her shopping. One of the things that I have done in the past, especially when I've not been in a very good place, I have used my children as an excuse as for me to spend money. And yeah, you could say that maybe I had a problem as well, but I definitely know that there are many parents like myself who do use their children to spend money. We feel better when we spend money on other people. We have that kind of like, you know, we get that second-hand joy from spending money and seeing them happy. So that's probably a reason why she's doing it, but she probably still isn't finding happiness in her spending money. So she's using the kids as a mechanism in order to find some fulfillment in what she's doing, because she can't be happy doing this, hiding it from her husband as well as being in all this debt. A few more years go by and she made the mistake of importing one of her hidden credit cards. Was that a mistake, guys? Sometimes these things happen because we are literally calling out for help in a secretive way, you know? I don't know. And she just really wanted to tell you about it. But yeah, to find out that another $20,000, we're now up to $60,000, guys. $60,000 that she has accrued in debt. That is not a small amount of change. He's left it off by saying, should he file for divorce? I honestly don't know. I would never be the person to tell anyone to end their marriage. I think that's between you and God. You have to come to that decision yourself. But I definitely think she does have a problem, and there are many people who do have spending addictions. Now, by no means am I trying to diagnose this listener's wife. I haven't got the qualifications, nor do I have the ability to do so, guys, but I definitely think that that might be something that he needs to look into. Having a spending addiction is a very serious issue. It can have a really negative impact in regards to your finances, your relationships, and overall well-being. The first thing that he needs to get his wife to do is acknowledge that she actually has a problem. So far, all I've seen him do is bail her out. He finds out the secret, he then chucks some money at it or takes some money out of his savings to kind of like close it away. Even though he's having these discussions with his wife, it doesn't seem to be making her realise that there is actually a real problem. It's like she's being chastised more than helped. by barring her from spending money just doesn't seem to work. So yeah, the first step that he has to do is really try to find a way to help her to see that this is truly a problem for her as well as him. The next thing that would need to happen, which I've actually discussed with you quite a lot, guys, is that she needs to identify her triggers. She needs to find out what is it that is making you spend this money that you clearly don't have. Why are you continually going back into debt over and over again? She could be suffering from stress, anxiety, or these could be situational triggers like online shopping or being in close proximity to a mall or shopping centre. The next thing that would need to happen, which I think needs to happen jointly, not just from him, because he sounds like he's already quite money savvy, they need to be sitting down together and discussing their budget, really looking at the numbers together and building one that is not only sustainable but is actually realistic for both of them. Just by telling her that she can't spend money, she's not allowed to go shopping, no matter how frivolous you think it is, it's just not going to work. Maybe she needs to have a set budget for frivolous spending, so to speak, so that she knows that once that's done, then it's done, rather than telling her to stop completely. The last thing I'd suggest is to definitely seek some professional advice. This could be a counsellor, someone from your church, a pastor, whoever you feel comfortable discussing your finances with. Maybe it's time to bring a third person in to give not only your wife some support and a different perspective, but maybe you too. I can imagine this being an emotional roller coaster for the both of you. At the end of the day, overcoming any kind of spending addiction is going to take time, it's going to take patience, and it's going to take the both of you really working together. Try to be patient and supportive with her, even though it feels like you're at the end of your tether. And also don't forget to celebrate like the small wins that she makes, so that she feels encouraged and empowered while she's dealing with this problem. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Is there anything that I have missed that you would want to advise this listener? I truly believe that compulsive spending is something that a lot of us deal with, whether publicly or secretively. So if you do feel comfortable about sharing, please do not forget to leave a comment down below. But yeah, guys, that is all for now this week. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget to go over to your podcast streaming service and download the latest episode of Cash Confessions Extended. Next week, we will be continuing our discussion in regards to financial infidelity. But for this week, that's She's on a Budget, over and out.